So because the offseason is in full swing and because we don't have any huge, significant, amazing, video-worthy news topics at our disposal, we're going to have to start doing things a little differently around here. In particular, we're going to have to start taking smaller topics and putting them together into bigger videos, because a lot of these topics that we're going to talk about, they're not really big enough to make their own headlines. It's just kind of, okay, well, here's a little tidbit of news, here's another tidbit of news, and then there's another idea as well. So let's put them all together and give a Red Wings news update, courtesy of ProHockeyRumors.com. Because what Brian LaRose did yesterday was publish an article talking about Red Wings notes, Sandin-Pellikka, three-goalie system, as well as con. LaRose goes out there with a pretty good summary of 3 different Detroit-based news stories, and I thought it'd be interesting to go out there and make a video about them in this commentary today. So, let's go out there with the scoop and start out with the top headline here. It goes over prospect Axel Sandin-Pellikka and how it seems like his future plans may be revealed and discussed pretty thoroughly. One of Detroit's top prospects is ASP. The 19-year-old was the 17th overall pick in 2023, and he had signed his ELC back in May, giving the Wings more options with where to assign him for next season. However, the blue liner indicated that his preference was to remain in Sweden for 24-25, a plan that the team has no issue with, according to Helene St. James of the Detroit Free Press. Linked is the article that Helene St. James published earlier this week. Detroit Red Wings on ASP's plan. We do not see the harm in it. This article goes out there and gives the scoop with the ASP comments. It's nice to be home for another year. I know the coach as well, and I know my teammates well. We have a good team too, so I just want to stay home and develop for another year. He made these comments during the development camp earlier in July, and it seems like this is a very positively received idea, as Axel Sandin-Pellikka, Dan Cleary goes out there and says, was one of Sweden's most important players on defense. He's going to play quite a bit in Skellefteå. They're going to have a good team. He's going to run the power play, going to play quite a bit with the puck. He's a really smart player, and he moves well. We just don't see the harm in him sticking around in Sweden. There's no sense in rushing him. The Helene St. James piece goes out there and says while placing Sandin-Pellikka in Grand Rapids would have gotten him a head start on adjusting to smaller ice in North America, staying in Sweden means he'll remain under the watchful eye of team personnel based there, including Nicholas Kronwall, who heads the European player development part of the Wings. Not to say that Axe couldn't come over and play in GR, no problem, but Skellefteå is a really good development league, Cleary said. It's well run. Now, this, of course, is a pretty good sign when it comes to the Red Wings and their decision-making, that the player, the team, everybody's on the same page here. There is no need to rush ASP. This, of course, has been a pattern the Wings have exhibited for the past, let's say, decade even. How they don't like to go out there and draft guys and immediately put them in the NHL or sometimes even the AHL. They'll take their few top defensemen once in a while and give them time in the AHL, but there always seems to be extra time there too. Either they go to the AHL or then they go back to Sweden or something like Moritz Seider, or they spent double time in the American Hockey League. They don't like to rush their guys, and that is totally okay. So for ASP, if he spends another year in Skellefteå, has a pretty solid season, and then plays in the NHL at the end of this upcoming year, and then in 2025-2026, I think that's a pretty reasonable expectation when it comes to his own development plan, and it could be seen as one of these situations where he actually takes that slow growth and is able to expand his game into the best way possible. Let's go back over onto the Pro Hockey Rumors article. ASP had showed pretty well last season in Skellefteå, recording 10 goals and 8 assists in 39 games. He added 7 more points in 14 playoff games while seeing his ice time jump to over 22 minutes a night. If he can stay in that type of role for next season, the decision to stay in that league will likely prove to be the right one. Now, let's go on to our second news piece or idea from this Pro Hockey Rumors article. More from Detroit. Last month, Steve Yzerman said that his preference wasn't to carry 3 goalies again next season. However, he then went and added goaltenders Cam Talbot and Jack Campbell in free agency, while Ville Husso and Alex Lyon are still under contract, suggesting they'll go with 3 netminders again in 2024-2025. This Pro Hockey Rumors article then cites a Connor Eargood piece on the Hockey News, highlighting how one of the drawbacks of that approach as it pertains to the roster management of the Wings suggests that the third goalie could cut off an opportunity for one of their younger players to make the roster in training camp. Assuming the remaining RFAs resign, the Wings could have all 23 roster spots occupied by returnees, free agent additions, or prospects who are now waiver eligible. They still have a few months to potentially open up a spot if they want to create an open roster opportunity for players to battle for. And this is one of the things that I think scratches a lot of other people's heads when they really think about it. Like, okay, yeah, the Red Wings had themselves this goaltender carousel last year that was seen as not really the most preferable situation for the team, but next season they're doing the same thing. Jack Campbell is probably going to be an AHL guy. Ville Husso is making too much money to get sent down. Alex Lyon is good, and he probably is the top guy if you don't want to think about Cam Talbot, who had just signed with Detroit in the offseason too. So there are 3 guys who could projectably be a part of the organization. And the argument here is that, okay, if you have 3 goaltenders, not only are you going to be forced to rotate around a whole bunch of guys again, but you also will be holding back other guys from making the team. Not even just talking about Sebastian Cossa or Trey Augustine or any of the goaltender prospects, but other guys who could fill out extra spots. You only have so limited spots on your NHL teams, so do you really want to go out there and explore 3 guys rotating around in net? Especially if you wanted to say that Cam Talbot is going to be the number 1. Like, you would have a battle for 2 between Lyon and Husso. Obviously, I think Red Wings fans know that Husso is the inferior goaltender, so are the Red Wings kind of trapped and forced to make a trade here? Who really knows? Does the Jack Campbell signing have much implication in this anyway? If Jack Campbell wasn't signed, would they be still willing to keep a guy like Husso up because he's making the amount of money that he's making? There are a lot of conversations and questions to think about when it comes to the Wings and what their perspectives are, but it does beg the question, does CBY have something else up his sleeve here? Is he going to find a way to cook and get rid of one of the other goaltenders that are already on the team and open up an extra spot for a younger guy? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. What do you feel the Red Wings should do in that respect? But before we end off this video, I wanted to talk about the one final news story that was included in this Pro Hockey Rumors article. It's written down here at the bottom. After spending the last 3 seasons as Detroit's Director of Hockey Ops, Aaron Kahn has been promoted to Assistant GM while retaining his previous title as well, relays Bob Duff of Detroit Hockey Now. He joins Sean Horkoff and Chris Draper as those with an AGM title. Detroit is Aaron Kahn's first stop in the NHL after a 4-year collegiate career as a goaltender. Now, this is like really minor news, not really the biggest headline out there that Aaron Kahn, of all people, has been promoted to an assistant GM of the Wings, but this is one of these moves where it's like, hey, Steve Yzerman is bolstering up his crew, he's getting his guys they're all confident in, and for Kahn to work his way up into this position, it is a pretty nice thing to see. Of course, he doesn't have the same longevity with the Wings like Chris Draper does or Steve Yzerman does, but he's being trusted in this role, and it seems like he'll be working more on Red Wings hockey business. He'll be talking about contracts, salary cap stuff. It bodes well for the law degree that he does have, so this is going to be interesting to see how the Wings adjust over the next few years. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, though. How do you feel about these 3 pieces of news? ASP has decided his upcoming season's path. The 3-goalie system with Campbell, Husso, Lyon, and, of course, Cam Talbot. How do you feel about the promotion to AGM for Aaron Kahn? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. This article, of course, will be linked in the description if you want to read this as well. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.